Hello and welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach. I'm on a timer, as you can maybe see on my phone. I think you can see the timer there. I've got something in the oven for lunch, so I've got to make sure I stay to that time. I've spent a fair amount of time off camera trying to figure out what was this little discrepancy. And actually, it's one of those things of once you finally realize it, it's pretty simple. I still don't know if I've got my head 100% around this. I plan on doing, or at least thinking about doing, a separate video just on enumerators and enumeration in C# because I want to make sure it's something I haven't done in a while, and I want to make sure that I get my head around it. So here's the results. They don't look as good as they have done sometimes, but it's definitely a lot better than what it was before. And the thing that I realized, I'll come back to the statistics in just a moment. The thing that I realized is you don't make this outside thing the actual, like it doesn't implement IEnumerable or anything like that. You have, and I don't know if it matters if it's a class or a struct, but you have one of these as a nested type. You can't make it unless you're internal. And then you just have this one getEnumerator method in there. And that's it. And I think it's because you're not actually casting what's being returned. Even if that was a class, you're not returning something that is an interface. And so you have a little bit of an indirection going on there. Again, I'm not entirely sure that is the case, but I think that is why doing this and then having the enumerator in here doing everything that you needed to do, that cleaned up a bunch. And then the results here, you can see that, yeah, for 1 or 2, we're talking a nanosecond or 2 difference. I mean, that is utterly trivial. And I've actually seen, I think, some separate benchmarks that I've done here. Yeah, this is, yeah, huzzah, celebrate. This is another one where, again, the handler one is a little bit, tiny bit slower, but notice that the allocations also went away. It doesn't consider that you've allocated. So that's good too. So this is definitely the approach I'm going to be taking. I'm now going to be going through all of the code and changing this so that we have these 2 types now for both handler types, one that returns a value and one that doesn't. That we have those instead of list of handler, we're now going to have handlers, and we're going to have to change a little bit of code. We're not going to have a count, so we're going to see if it's not null. Little changes here and there, and that's going to break all of the generated code. But if the integration tests and the code gen tests run, then we're good. So on the list, we want to create the other handler and putting in the comments here. So let's do that for now. Defines a type to collect all the handlers for a member. And then we also want to start putting in remarks. This type is intended to be used by rocks exclusively and is not designed. Actually, I want to say a type is designed to be used by rocks and is not intended to be used directly. I may change the wording on that, but I want to have those things in the code. And I will clean up some of these XML comments here. I just want to get the things in here. What is this complaining about? Yep, fine. We'll come back to all of this. I just want to get the blocks in so that we do what we're supposed to do. And then we've got handlers here. Creates a new instance of handler, blah, blah, blah. And enumerator. Okay, so now we are not missing comments. We can put the other one in here because we want to could return a value. There, that reads better. I think it does. Let's copy pasta. I usually don't like having two types in one file, but what we want here is one that does not. So we say, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Oh, yeah, because I haven't removed enough. Okay, there we go. Probably a couple more things down here, I'm assuming. Yep. And let's get rid of those. And we don't need that anymore and that any. Whoops. Now we should be okay. Good. So we've got one for the callback, and I will add tests and I will add that stuff. So we're going to move that one down there. Update generated code to use handlers. So there's 3 locations where this could happen, I believe. Let's go into some code and let's close all that. I thought I said close all the windows. And it doesn't matter which test we are looking at because they all kind of follow the same pattern. So when we create the handler's fine, that stays the same. It's when we do the private global list of, that's going to change. Replace creating the list to a handlers. Yeah, this one's cool. Not really the right one we want to look at. Oof. I think I may have seen this before and I didn't quite realize how am I going to handle this. I think I might need a third because handlers. Yes, we're going to want one that has a callback and does not return a value. That has a callback and could return a value. Now in this case, I believe the thing why this is an odd one, optional parameters and params async. Yeah, I think maybe, possibly. Am I looking at a strange case here? List of, yeah, so then well, okay, I'm overthinking it. It would no longer be list, it would be handlers of a whatever this is deriving from. So if I come back up here, yeah, I'm overthinking it, I think. This would then say that it's taking a handlers that basically takes this whole thing, and that's what you want to provide. Well, not the handler type. You want to give the callback and return value. No, I don't want to be. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I don't want that kind of help. Thank you very much, Visual Studio. So we want to change those. We want to change the verify. Update verify to do a null check because there is no count anymore. So verify. What does verify do? Verify takes a list of handlers and, oh, crud. So we might need to put enumerable on because we need to do a where on it. And I think if you don't do a enumerable on your type, then you can no longer do a where. And just to check that real quick on performance up here, do I have any of the code? No, I do not. But if I come into here, and that's the list one, here's the handlers one. So if I take this handlers, I can't say handlers dot no. Where? It doesn't understand that. You know, if I do like the whole rigmarole and put in this, well, if I could type, is going to say, I don't know what that is. It doesn't define that, but if I say potential fixes, it goes, I don't know what that is. So we're going to need to implement enumerable on both handler types. We need to update verify to do a null check. That is the generated to do a null check. And we need to do this explicitly. That's the other trick. If you do explicitly, then you still get the gains here, which I will verify. But if you do it explicitly, then what the compiler picks is the one that you're passing back that is the specialized one, and then it doesn't go through that, and you still get all the gains. That's what list of T is doing, and I believe that's what I want to do as well. I took it out because I'm like, I didn't think I needed it. But just looking at this, yes, we do. We're going to need both of them. Create two verify methods on expectations. So I think that's the next thing. I think there's one more thing I need to do. If I come back to my tests here, this can be a for each, but there is no count. In implemented members, or in handle members, in the mock, change the check for .count, I think is greater than 0. And we'd actually do this to is not null. When the list, we'll get to that. That's right, there's one more thing. So we do those anytime we do that. And I think, even though that'd be a very, 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 very small thing, I think that actually is going to be slightly faster because you don't have to go through a property and check its value. Again, that also is very, very fast. But doing a null check, I think, will be slightly faster. So we do the for each. All of those things will still work, I believe. And then when adding an expectation, change that to, and here we want to do a if else using the new handlers type. This may seem boring, but this is critical, to put a plan in place and to write out what you think you need to do and cover your bases, because it's not a guarantee, but it does help. Just this little bit of work says, okay, I've got my roadmap in place. I got my path in place. I think I've covered everything that will change. Now do it. It doesn't mean that I may have forgotten something, and as I will probably find out in the next episode, if I could talk in the next episode or two, that I may have missed something. But this helps. This helps a lot. I do this a lot. I take a lot of notes. I will put things down, especially if it starts getting even a little bit beyond 2 or 3 steps, because it's so easy to forget or you miss things or stuff like that. So we want to say run all integration and code generation tests, fix all unit tests. Right, unit tests for handlers. We already did. What we want to do now is say add XML comments for handlers, because we didn't finish it. I started it, but I didn't finish it. Handler, yeah, and we definitely want to put that in there, just as a note to say stop using these if you are. They're just not intended to be done that way. I'm pretty excited about this, even though the performance improvement will be very, very small. But this is an overall gain for handling the handlers. And it was nice to put in all this work and again see, yes, I feel good about making this change that will actually lead to a slightly better improvement. Well, once this is done, at some point in the near future, again, I need to actually get into profiling of the mocks, and specifically the mock generation. I know there's going to be some big wins there. So that will be a fair amount of work as well. So gonna go eat lunch, gotta run some errands, but when I get back, I will try to get most, if not all of this done in the next episode or two. Thank you all for watching. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.